Hey, what's up? It's me, Paul, and today I wanted to talk about one of my biggest takeaways from Dr. Dean Ornish's book, Undo It. He promotes a vegan lifestyle, but there's other elements that he talks about to have a longer life in terms of eating well, loving more, and stressing less, definitely. But just to give you like a little background before I go ahead and get into one of my biggest takeaways from the book, is I live a vegan diet. And I do have other elements that I incorporate into that. So I'm gluten free as well, and oil free. Like there's no oil in the food, definitely. And my motivation behind this diet and choosing to be gluten free, oil free, is my dad, for the most part, he passed away from heart disease, and I don't want to go about on that same track, definitely. Also, I have hypothyroidism, so I possibly might have Hashimoto's disease, where my cholesterol isn't very well regulated because my thyroid's a little jacked up. So anytime I take blood tests, my cholesterol is always a little bit higher than it should be. And I mean, look at me, I'm super skinny. Like I'm not obese, and I like I said, I lived this vegan diet, but like I said, my cholesterol is still a little bit jacked up. And also, a new element that I didn't discuss before that I'm including into my diet this year is going SOS free. And that's free of sugar, oil, I already mentioned, and salt. I'm not 100% vegan every single day, 365 days of the year. There are days that I have meat. Thanksgiving, I will have like turkey, I'll have meat, I'll have all the fixings and everything. I like pizza every once in a blue as well. I would say pizza's a vice as well as pie. And there's vegan options of all these things, but all those foods are super processed and they have a lot of salt and oil in them, definitely. And one of my biggest takeaways that I was going to talk about today from Dr. Ornish's book is having too much salt. This year, now experimenting more with a SOS free diet. And that doesn't mean that I'm doing it every day. I do it most days, not every day. I kind of go between that. That's Dr. Goldhammer's SOS free diet and Dr. John McDougall's Starch Solution, where it's vegan as well, but it's a little bit more processed, a little bit more like breads and cereals and pancakes. Definitely still oil free. He says to really reduce the dried fruit as well because it's so sugary, and to go ahead and once again like not have as many nuts because of all the fat content in nuts that you're gonna wear the fat that you eat basically. Another element that I didn't mention that I include in my diet is I fast. I fast close to a 20-hour period almost on a daily basis. And the reason being, I always just feel like the body should do its work. Once you feed it, let it do its work and break down the food. And because if you're always feeding it, it's just like, when is it going to do its work? You know what I mean? So just feed the body, let it do its work, let it break down what it needs to break down, and then for me, I'll be ready later, like I said, the 20-hour period later to go ahead and eat again. It makes me feel good, and the crazy thing is I've been doing this for a while now, and even at the 20-hour mark, I'm actually not hungry just yet. So sometimes I even push it to like 24 hours when I really want to push it out, push it to like a 30-hour period, or but that's like when I really want to go ahead and do an extended thing. So getting into my takeaway from Dr. Ornish's book, and this is going to be on page 85, and this discusses eating too much salt, definitely. Eat less sodium. The 2015-2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends that people consume less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. As part of a healthy eating pattern, less is even better, especially if you have high blood pressure, heart failure, or kidney disease. The average intake of sodium in the United States is much more than this, over 3,400 milligrams each day. Eating too much sodium increases the risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. Just 1 teaspoon of salt has 23 milligrams of sodium. Taking the salt shaker off the table is one simple strategy to minimize your sodium intake, but it is equally important to know what to look for on the label. Almost 80% of the salt Americans consume is hidden in the processed and restaurant food. That this being a great point, one of the reasons, like I said, why I want to go ahead and follow this diet. Like I know it's a lot of restriction in the sense of, okay, vegan, then gluten free, then oil free, and then SOS free. So it's a lot of restrictions. So for that reason is personally why I just don't. I do it more often than not, but I don't do it every single day because I do want to have options, and variety is very important to me because if I'm just eating one particular way all the time, I'm just going to go off the wagon and go crazy and binge on some food that I'll feel completely guilty about later. I'm a very compulsive person in the sense of I could compulsively overeat, and this is one of the reasons why I want to try to minimize my sugar and my salt, because when the foods are super sugary, super salty, I just tend to eat more, even beyond the point of satiation. I find that with video games, I've mentioned many times in this channel regarding sex, I'm just very compulsive, you know? So what I've noticed is when I do follow this SOS free diet, I mostly make it like grains, beans, vegetables, fruit, that the fiber in these foods already going to just like super fill you up and be like, I can't even stick something else in my mouth. But if one of my big problems is if I'm watching TV and I eat this and then I just want even more pleasure and just these base pleasures, like I said, the video games, the food, the sex, just want more and more and more, and not even paying attention to my body saying, dude, I'm good. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's one of my biggest takeaways from Dr. Ornish's book. If you're interested in checking out this book, I leave an affiliate link in the description for this video. In my most recent podcast, I discuss more of my takeaways from Dr. Ornish's book, Undo It. I always prefer comments as opposed to likes and subscribe and this and that, because I'd rather have a conversation with you. Please do so below. Find all my content at improveandhavefun.com. My name is Paul, and I'll catch you in the next video.